Hello, and welcome back to the Games Embassy with the Ambassadors of Gaming. I am one in your army of hosts, Ambassador Michael.
What's up, guys? I'm Ambassador Jason.
And I'm Ambassador Jordan.
And welcome to our corner of the internet, where we have news about stuff. Jason, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. It's an awesome Sunday. It's been raining all weekend.
Yes, it has. Tropical storm and all of that.
Florida life.
Oh, yeah, Florida life, man. It's always the best. Jordan, is it cold yet for you? We don't know what cold feels like in Florida.
When isn't it cold in Scotland? That's the real question. It's
Fair
just
enough.
constant coldness and suffering.
I missed that.
Is it dry as well? Is the air dry? Does it hurt to breathe?
I think it hurts to breathe at any time in my life.
Oh, that's horrible.
I'm joking,
My entire existence is basically pain, so...
I feel you.
Anyways, if you would like to make our existence a little less painful, Jason would like to tell you about our Patreon.
Certainly. So we have an awesome little Patreon page where you can get some cool perks and goodies like early access to our shows, getting your comments, questions, and concerns read on the show, and exclusive content. If you'd like to support the show and get some goodies, you can do so over at patreon.com/ambassadors of gaming.
Yes, indeed. In case you are unaware, we have a group chat up, one of our new testing kind of shows. It's public now as well, if you would like. It's 4 hours long, super long. And we got Daryl on mic for the first time ever. So it was very exciting. Daryl's very talkative. So thus it lasted way longer than we intended to.
I was confused about that because I didn't know if I was supposed to be on that.
No, you're supposed to be on the new one. The new one that we are working on currently.
I saw you kept saying record the show, record the show. I'm over here like, I'm not getting any notification of recordings. It's not my fault.
It's Chris. It's always Chris. I'm like, Chris, I need you to orchestrate the show. And he's like, yeah, I got it. I'm like, Chris, I need you to orchestrate the show. He's like, yeah, I got it. I'm like, Chris, it's been 3 days since I wanted to put out the show. When are you going to record? Like, come on, killing me. Anyways, so there's a bunch of cool stuff over there. You're going to get an exclusive video every month, and we're working on including group chat as an additional monthly podcast going forward. So that'll be more fun and topical versus here where it's more news and opinions. So if you're into that, you can go over on Patreon. If not, you can do it free a month later. So anyways, let's get into the real stuff and what we came here today. Let's get into updates, announcements, and other miscellaneous news. In news that only me and every other weeaboo cares about, the original makers of Okami want to make a sequel. Ikumi Nakamura, known as the cute Japanese E3 dev, posted a video to Twitter with Kamiya about wanting to make a sequel to the game, as Capcom continues to assert that it wants to resurrect dormant IPs. So that's very exciting for me. I love Okami. It's one of my favorite games ever. And for some reason, Capcom does that thing where every game that's good, it refuses to make again. So
Classic Capcom.
Yeah.
That's Capcom's like signature. It's very good. It's out on all systems now.
Yeah, it's on Switch. Yeah.
Yes, if you play it, I would recommend playing it on Switch because Switch has not only motion controls. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Are you familiar with Okami at all?
Oh, me?
Yes.
I actually remember when this game launched back on the PlayStation 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, PS2 and GameCube. Yeah.
Yeah, I just never had a chance to play it in all these years.
It's very, very good, but it also focuses. Its primary thing with powers is based off of calligraphy. So like everything is these very specific animations. So you have to like use the brush pen. Yeah. Anyways, it's not very good with a controller. It's way better with motion controls and touchscreen controls. So I definitely would recommend.
The Wii version was probably like the Wii version is what I played, and I think that's probably the best. I'm playing it on the Xbox again. Like I say right now, I was playing it last night. Like I just kind of got back into my save, and as you're saying, it's incredibly difficult to actually. It is. Like, it's not difficult, I guess, but it's weird trying to draw like some of the icons that you need to do or the.
Right, it doesn't move very fluid. The sensitivity isn't very high, and it definitely needs to be higher than like what the sticks allow, what the devs set the stick speed to be. So, it's definitely better on Switch. I would assume. The Switch is, I think, a port of the Wii version. So
I'm going with that then, because the drawing on that was just incredibly easy. Obviously with the Wiimote, but like that did make it like pretty good to play. I guess I can't really compare it other than to the Xbox edition that I'm playing now. And it does play fine. It's not overly difficult. It's
annoying because you'll screw up like here and there a little bit. Yeah,
it takes a bit to get used to.
Because I got it when it launched on PS4, and I was like, "Oh man, this is so exciting!" Blah 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 And then I was playing it and I was like, man, this is really like difficult. And then I traded it in the second they announced it for Switch. I was like, well, I don't need this anymore. Gonna buy it on Switch. Which is basically all of our lives at this point. So except for Overwatch. No Overwatch
man.
Switch.
I bought it.
Is it as bad as I've heard?
No, it actually runs well. I'm just not.
Well, that's good.
I don't see how, because I've been playing Overwatch for over 3 years on PC, and I feel like a free horse in like an open range when I'm playing on PC. I have all this movement and everything. Like I'm playing on the controller, and I feel so restricted, and like I'm just not used to playing on the controller. There's so many buttons to hit. It's not easy for me. I'm assuming if you're like used to playing Overwatch on the console, you'll transition very easily. But for me, it was frustrating. The game runs well. I am just terrible at it on console. On PC, I'm like a god in my eyes. Flat rank god.
There you go.
I am terrible with the controller. So if they ever add mouse and keyboard support to the Switch version, I probably will be like diamond.
All on that. There you go.
Not even much higher.
There you go.
Yeah, that's just me. That's a me problem.
I understand that. That's why I don't play mouse and keyboard. So, anyways.
Yeah. Continuing on, we have Fallout 76's Wastelanders update. It's been announced that it's been delayed. Bethesda announced that the update adding in the much requested NPCs has been delayed into 2020. Bethesda mentioned in a blog post that the game needs more time and polish. Expect the update in Q1 of 2020. It's been kind of popular. We need more time and polish. Reminds me of Animal Crossing when they got delayed to March 2020.
Right. It's Q1 2020 or Q1 in general is becoming very, very good. I'm not a big fan of all these games coming out in February and March.
I know.
To be fair, I don't know how this works for you, Jordan. But in the US, that's tax season time. Yep. So all of us are getting our tax return. And I'm assuming that's why all these games are coming out at that time.
I mean, we have this DLC. This update, I should say.
Right.
DLC. We have Animal Crossing. We have Doom that got delayed to March 2020.
Right.
I don't know what else is coming out.
Watch Dogs. Final Fantasy 7.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's all bad. It's gonna be horrible. There's so many games coming out in February and March. It's like so we're getting a really nice, easy November, but that's because February and March is gonna be really hectic.
Yeah.
So, but
easy. We have Luigi's Mansion 3 on Switch coming out on your wedding day.
Right.
And then we have Pokemon coming out in November.
Death Stranding and Star Wars.
Several other games. Yep.
Yeah, November is pretty stacked, but in terms of the games that we're covering, not a bunch. Next week is going to be crazy. This week, this Friday, there's 3 games coming out. Outer Worlds, Call of Duty, and Medieval all come out on Friday.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm like, why do you guys all pick these same days to release games? It's insane. Anyways, they need this update bad. So I'm hoping that, the people that are holding on the Fallout 76, they enjoy it when it finally comes out, but it ain't for me. So
I barely played it since I bought it. Like I got it hoping that it would be some okay. I think it is like okay if you put aside all the shite, which is pretty much the entire game. I'm joking.
It's okay if you ignore
it. I think it's good to kind of like aimlessly play. Like you just get lost in it, like going around fighting stuff. I guess like that's what I enjoyed about it. But at the same time, it's kind of bare bones. It doesn't really offer much other than that, and it's not really good enough, I guess. But hopefully it actually kind of saves itself when it comes out with this update. But whether or not it will, we'll find out when.
Yeah, we'll see
next year.
Yes, we will see indeed. Do you want to take us on to the next one then?
Yes, moving on to the next note, onto Xbox Game Pass. It's been reported that 40%, players are playing 40% more games, even those that are not in Game Pass. ID at Xbox lead, probably going to say this wrong, but Agostino Simonetta spoke at GameIndustry.biz's investment summit, saying that people that join the subscription are way more engaged. Well, they have a lot more free games to play, but actually they're way more engaged outside of the subscription. They go to the stores and buy more games than they did before, end quote. Other notable stats include 91% of subscribers are playing games that they would not have played without Game Pass, which I'd say is kind of a given that you're going to see that boost, because as I was saying earlier, like you've got an abundance of games that you can play somewhat for free, so you're obviously going to like take them risks and playing games that you normally wouldn't.
Right.
And then on the next stat, members are playing 30% more genres than they did not before. Well, before they started using Game Pass, which again, like, and that's me kind of probably speaking from personal experience. I kind of can totally see why, because there's even times where I'll be looking at Game Pass and there'll be games that like I didn't buy on release for whatever reason, and now I'm going in and downloading them, or I'm just downloading ones that seem even the slightest bit interesting because you're not really losing out on anything. So I can see why, and it's good as well. Like, I'm kind of happy that Game Pass is picking up. It is a pretty good offer for what it is.
Yes, it is.
They definitely nailed that one. They got it right. Like they go ahead.
Okay. Especially when they added up, they combined the PC version with Xbox Live.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a great package.
Yeah, they're definitely hitting the value side of things really well. Because what Ultimate is $15 a month or $20 a month?
I think it's 15, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's not even that bad, because and that gives you Game Pass Gold and Game Pass on both systems and Gold, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Game Pass alone was $10 and Gold alone was $10. So you're basically getting $5 off, and you're getting the PC one for free. And
this is a continuing trend where companies are just wanting to offer services as opposed to the product itself. You see that with Apple. Their new iPhone came out at a lower price than before, and analysts were surprised and shocked. It's because they have revenue coming in from their actual services and such.
Right, recurring revenue streams.
Yeah,
versus the one-time payments. Yeah, because obviously Game Pass is wildly successful, as we're seeing. I'm assuming the attach rate is insanely high. The reason why we have it, at least I have it and Daryl has it, is for coverage. Like, if I can get Xbox One games day one on Game Pass for $10 a month, I'm going to do it, because then I don't have to pay more than $120 a year to get all the games. Like, at this point, we were only buying like one or two. Now we can cover literally every game that Xbox releases. Now, granted, they don't typically release more than two major IPs in a year, but next year they probably will, because what comes out next year? Ori, Halo,
I think so, yeah,
and probably another Forza, right?
More likely, yeah.
Yeah, so at least three. That alone will definitely be more worth than what you're going to get on Game Pass. Plus, that doesn't include literally everything else in Game Pass. So, you know what I mean? But yeah, I agree with what Jordan was saying about just going back and playing games. I went back and played the Arkham games recently. Asylum is still probably one of the best games I've ever played. City is very, very good. And so, I definitely feel that, because I've played games I wouldn't have played outside of Game Pass. And, I still haven't played some of the games that are in Game Pass, if I'm to be honest. But
yeah, so there is quite a lot, and there is a good variety of like even older ones, or kind of like you were saying, how new titles are coming straight to it, which is totally amazing. That's going to save me having to pay for Outer Worlds on Friday.
Right, same.
I can't wait for. I'm really looking forward to that. I also found it like not funny, I guess, but it was interesting that New Vegas got made available on Game Pass like the week before or whatever.
Week, yeah.
So it's like just kind of enticing you to play that to get a feel, not for the new this game, because obviously it's going to be different, but like their style, and just letting you play one of their games.
My assumption would be is that Bethesda did that as a hey, don't forget about Fallout.
Don't forget about me.
Yeah, pretty much. Because as far as I'm aware, those dealings all come in with on the publisher end. Because we've seen games that even got released this year that are on Game Pass, even big games. DMC5's on there.
Yeah.
Bloodstain's on there. Bloodstain came on there literally 2 months after it came out. So sometimes you're getting games that released in the same year, which is insanely high value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So I love Game Pass. It's great. So we can just move on to game announcements and release dates, I guess, then. There's not really much outside of Riot Games had a big convention celebrating, I believe it's 10th year. And they announced 6 new games. So a lot. League of Legends Wild Rift is coming to consoles and mobile. And basically it's the port of League of Legends. So finally, we can have League of Legends on console as the console generation wraps up. But hey, it's backwards compatible next gen, so you'll still be able to play it on your shiny new systems.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason why this happened basically is because their publisher was going to do it without them, right? And they basically made a shitty version of it.
Well, Tencent, which also owns League of Legends, if I'm not mistaken,
Right.
or Riot.
Yeah, they own them. Yeah.
Riot didn't want to create a mobile version, from my understanding, and they already had Arena of Valor, which was named a different name in China. I'm not entirely sure the name. It was doing amazingly well over there. So Riot didn't want to have League of Legends mobile. So they just created Arena of Valor, which is the same game in China. They just changed the name to Arena of Valor for Americans, and they added some DC characters and stuff. And it didn't. It took off at first, but then it just kind of like didn't really do anything with it.
Right.
And it's kind of dead right now.
Fair enough.
And then that leaves like two big mobile MOBAs, which is like Mobile Legends Bang Bang and Vainglory. But I think because I'm looking forward to this, I love playing MOBAs on mobile. Once League of Legends Wild Rift comes out, it's going to take a big part of the market share of mobile MOBAs. And that's good. It's a good thing. Competition is good because right now, the other two MOBAs, they're really just stagnant right now.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the part of the reason why League is so successful is because they adopted that like Fortnite like model where there's like a lot of updates and they're pretty in contact with their community and stuff like that.
I couldn't answer that truthfully because I don't.
Okay.
I like League of Legends, but I don't play too much of it.
Okay, fair enough.
Just because I like MOBAs, but League's MOBA, like League of Legends, the games last far too long. And me, I have 4 kids.
That's what I've heard.
I can't sit there and be dedicated to like a 50 to possibly an hour-long game, and something happens. Yeah,
and you have to go stop or clean up the microwave.
That's why I prefer the mobile MOBAs because they last 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops.
Right. Well, hopefully they'll adjust the time frame.
Well, they already announced that the mobile version will have the 15 to 20 minute game time as they're used to, I guess.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, everyone's like, well, I know I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna sell. It's gonna be, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but is League free at the moment?
Yeah, League is free to play, and the mobile version will be free to play as well.
I'm assuming the console version will be as well, and they'll make that up in microtransactions, I'm sure.
Yeah, because the way the MOBAs work is they'll give you like a base set of characters, and then there's like 40 plus more characters. You can either buy them outright with money, or you can use them when they're free on a certain week, or you can save up the in-game currency and buy them with that. Okay. And they also make money off the skins and stuff.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with that if you're a free-to-play game, honestly. That sounds like it. Obviously, it's been working for them because they haven't really made anything since League of Legends, right? That's pretty much the only game they've made, right?
Well, yes and no, because I feel like there's a team, Dauntless.
Okay.
Dauntless is a product of Riot, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I'll take a look.
I don't know if it's game. I don't know if it's some of the developers that left League of Legends and then created Dauntless. Because Dauntless is developed by Phoenix Labs, but I think it's from some of the developers from Riot that left and created their own studio.
Let's see. I'm taking a look here right now. It's made by Phoenix and distributed by Epic. Development. Yeah, it's by former Riot Games.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, yeah, because that's the Monster Hunter like game, right?
Yeah, that game's fun.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard it's really, really good. Haven't gotten into it, but I've heard it's good. Anyways, we can continue on to the other games announced, which is it sounds like a lot, but you'll see in a second. Teamfight Tactics is an auto battler announced for mobile. Is that auto chess?
Yeah, that's their version of auto chess. It's out already on PC. But then it's going to be adding a mobile version as well.
I hear about auto chess all the time, and it sounds like a lot of fun, but I don't think there are any console like options. So
I'm not sure.
Very interested in looking into it.
Like Dota's version of auto chess, which was the first one, it has a mobile version, and then there's like several other mobile versions.
Right.
But I mean, I've tried it, and it's cool. I'm just not too big into it.
Fair enough. It's just not for you. I get it.
Yeah.
So this is the one that really like got people kind of buzzing is you'll see from these other announcements, this one's kind of coming at Blizzard. So they announced Legends of Runeterra, and it's going to be a card game coming out on mobile, PC, and Mac. They want exposure real good if they put it on Mac, because nothing comes on Mac.
I know.
Nothing ever comes to Mac.
And this is like a hit at Hearthstone pretty much.
Right.
They had it streaming all weekend. I was watching it. It looks pretty interesting. It looks good. I don't know if I would switch because I'm heavily devoted into Hearthstone, and I've spent since like
Fair
the
enough.
alpha. I've spent so much money on it.
Right.
I don't think I would switch, but I would definitely try it out. Just to say I tried it out.
It looks interesting. I like TCGs a lot. I can't really get into digital TCG as much because of just something with the boundary for cash. Something like in my brain is just like, no, I don't want to spend money. But like when I buy cards, I just spend money anyways.
But
So
it's significantly cheaper because I'm a past Pokemon TCG player.
okay,
And I played for many years, and I would spend hundreds of dollars every time a new set would come out. And and then after buying the sets, I'd buy individual cards I'm still missing and whatnot. And then to like play test my decks, I would have to find someone with the opposite deck. And it's a lot harder. You get less play time in because you're only playing when you go to the card shop and they have the nights that they're offering your game that they're playing. And it just seemed harder to get more practice in with your deck if you're playing competitively. That is, like I was.
Right, yeah.
And when Hearthstone came out, whenever there's a new expansion, it's like $60-$80 tops. Far less than what I'm spending. I spent like $300 on a new set when they came out.
Right, which is totally reasonable for those who don't play TCG. That's not bad, honestly, because I come from playing Magic more. I come from Yu-Gi-Oh! Then I started playing Magic, and those games are way more expensive for whatever reason.
Exactly. So I found Hearthstone, and then like with Hearthstone, you make your deck, and you have numerous players you can play.
Right. Immediately.
So you can play at any time. And then if you have friends and they have, the decks you want to go against, you can, face those decks. So, I mean, it has its, then you also have the fear of that if this game's not sad, I put all this money into it and have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, the fear of loss, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. It's just one of those things where, like, I get sad when I see card games because they're always like, hey, here's this new card game. I'm like, sweet. And they're like, it's not coming to console. And I'm like, fuck. I don't want to buy games on my PC because it's not intent. I don't think we've discussed this since it happened, but I finally built the what is now the AOG machine, and its sole purpose is to render videos. So like it can play games, but that's not its function. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to get suckered into it. But anyways, I'm very excited for these 3 projects. They all seem like they'll be very good for Riot. I'm sure they'll make Tencent a shitload of money as they usually do.
Definitely.
What has me most interested is kind of this first of the unannounced. So they announced them, but they're not titled yet. I don't know if you'd seen these. So they have 3 new projects, labeled but not named. No platforms have been announced for any of these either. So they have Project A, which is a tactical shooter. It's more like Rainbow Six, from what I've been hearing and seeing, versus like Call of Duty. Project L is going to be a fighting game, which is very different from anything they do. And then Project F. I didn't find any information about Project F, only that it was announced, but I didn't really find any information showing it off. I might have missed that somewhere in my research, but we got a lot of stuff we cover here, so I couldn't spend too much time on it. Do you know anything about that?
As far as Project F, not really sure about that. I know they also announced an anime based off of League of Legends.
Okay.
I'm interested in what they're gonna do with Project L, the fighting game, because ever since Overwatch came out, in certain levels they had like these arcade systems, and they show like Blizzard, characters fighting in a 2D fighting environment.
Sure.
And I've always said it'd be amazing if Blizzard took all their characters from all their IPs and kind of
just made a fighting game,
and just made a 2D fighting game.
Yeah.
And it'd be really cool. And I have a feeling that Riot might do that with all their League of Legends characters. They have all the characters there.
Yeah, they have
they can incorporate it.
Past, right?
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what they come out with this fighting game. When it comes out, what it's coming out on. And what kind of content's going to be in it. It's going to be super cool.
I'm very excited to see how this works out for them. I'm going to take a wild guess here and say they're probably all going to be on PC and mobile. So that seems to be the trend. Eventually, put it on PC, eventually get it to mobile. And if we have time, maybe we'll put it on. So, which is fine. It is what it is. I was hoping that this last gen would make that gap easier, and apparently it has, according to a lot of devs. But I'm really hoping that with this next gen, it's almost with Xbox, correct me if I'm wrong. If they file it correct, they have to use the exe, don't they? Or no, what is it? They have like a proprietary Windows format, don't they, for games?
For coding, yeah. They have a way that they can develop the game so that they can run on PC and Xbox without doing much recoding to it.
Right. That's what I thought.
They announced that.
Yeah, that was a while ago that they had done that. But people don't buy games off the Windows Store that much. So it doesn't like really help that much. Because they still have to port it to Steam and all that, right? Oh, yeah, that's true. Pass now it's like people will play. That's true. That's true. That is very true. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the announcements, all the miscellaneous news, blah, 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 all the small fish. So now we have the big boy news of the week.
All right, so Capcom is going to revive some dormant IPs. In the company's latest financial report, Capcom told investors that it will revive dormant intellectual properties for which we have not recently released new titles by increasing the number of our developers. The report mentioned that the company's priority is working on current IPs. However, it is also actively looking to utilize dormant IPs. I can't think of any dormant IPs right now from Capcom because they have been utilizing some of them. Like they brought about a bunch of old Resident Evil games to Switch.
Right.
They made those Mega Man collections. Right. So I'm trying to think of some other IPs that we haven't seen in a bit from them.
I think what they're referring to are IPs specifically that haven't gotten new titles. I think that's what they mean. Okay. So like Mega Man 11 did come out, so that's a thing. Monster Hunter World did come out, but they'd been making them. We're gonna get a Resident Evil 8. We know that. I think the big one is like Dino Crisis. For whatever reason, Dino Crisis is like the hill Capcom fans want to die on.
Yeah, I'd like to see that back. Even though I don't know how it would transition into the modern age. Like if I was playing as well, but I still think it'd be nice to see.
Oh, that looks cool.
They'd definitely have to give it the RE2 treatment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I've seen bits and pieces of it, and it reminds me a lot of Turok. Like those old Turok games did not translate well when they got ported. Like you need to like do a full remake of those.
Yeah.
So the last Dino Crisis came out in 2003. So
wasn't that Dino Crisis 3, the one that was in space?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is Dino Crisis 3 was the last game.
Yeah, I think I played up to number 2, and number 3 was a write-off as soon as I saw kind of where it was going.
Right. So
it'd
they
be nice
have
to see it bring back.
An amazing catalog of IP. Anyways, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was just saying it'd be nice to see it come back, like Dino Crisis, like you're saying with the kind of RE2 treatment, like totally revamped, bring it into a new age. I think even if it was like Dino Crisis, but using the RE engine, that'd be enough to keep me happy.
Yeah, that'd actually be pretty. That RE engine is really good. I don't know how they ended up building that, but it's been really useful for them. What did they use it in recently that wasn't? Didn't they build DMC5 on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uses the same engine, and then also bringing out that Project Resistance, which is pretty much just Resident Evil 2, but kind of like. Well, I'm not sure if it's. Like,
it's what is it? How would you describe it? It's like a dungeon game. More
so it's like you meet objectives in a room, get out, get to the next bit, and see how long you can kind of survive for while fighting off hordes of enemies, I guess. Or maybe not hordes, because I don't know if hordes really works in the RE2 kind of framework, I'd say.
I think
more
it's
like waves, like
based.
small waves.
I think it's like point based, like D&D kind of, where you have a certain amount of points that you can spend on enemies and stuff like that as the whatever. I forget what they call it, but it's basically the DM, So I'm just looking real quick at the IP for Capcom, because I thought it would be interesting to just kind of go over some of the notable ones that haven't been up in a while. Is Dead Rising, because they kind of killed off Dead Rising after that one issue. What was it? They were making a game and they canceled it. I don't remember why.
I'm not too sure. I know, like, obviously I played the last Dead Rising, which was alright, but at the same time, I think they've kind of been slowly going downhill compared to what they originally were.
Fair enough. So yeah, Mega Man. We got a new Mega Man. We haven't seen Megaman X. People are hoping that with Mega Man 11, you'll see more Mega Man games. The X franchise and Battle Network. Chris really loves Battle Network for whatever reason. I'm sure you'll see another Monster Hunter. But they also own like really crazy IP like Ghosts and Goblins, Onimusha, Ace Attorney.
Onimusha, that getting redone as well would be good. Imagine like Sekiro style, but
RE2.
Maybe not as difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. They need to like RE2 some a lot of these games. my opinion. Did we just talked about Okami at the top? Dino Crisis, Darkstalkers. That's pretty much it among the notable IP. I love Beautiful Joe. I know that not a lot of people like that game or that series in general. Beautiful Joe, though, not gonna lie, I was a big fan. I like Beautiful Joe a lot.
Yeah, I've got Beautiful Joe on the GameCube. I've not actually revisited it in quite a while now. Probably really should. I've got so many games I could.
It never got ported. I wish it would get ported. I'd play it.
Say that, I bet they do end up porting it to the Switch some point soon. It just seems like something they would do.
Please do it, Capcom. I need it. Anyways, yeah, so Capcom's got a list of like pretty decent IP. Like the main IP that they're known for, they're still making games for. So Ghosts and Goblins is another one they own. Lost Planet. So like they have cool IP that they could do stuff with. But they've Street Fighter. Yeah, they need a new Street Fighter because Street Fighter 5 is garbage. Yeah, they need a Street Fighter 6. They need that to happen. Like bad. So hopefully they can get it sorted because they've been on a roll. Ever since Street Fighter 5 came out and they flopped hard with that and Infinite. They've been doing really well. So
Infinite.
Yeah, I've heard. Kevin gets so triggered anytime I talk about Infinite. I asked him, I was like, hey, it's on Game Pass. Should I play it? He's like, no. Don't touch that game.
I bought it, and I bought like the Ultimate Edition or whatever. Like
I'm
not
so
the
sorry to
highest
hear
edition, but like with all the DLC and stuff.
Right.
And I feel like whenever there's a game and I buy like the version that comes with all the DLC, something happens to that game to the point where I never reach the DLC because I just stopped playing. It happened with Battlefield 4. It happened with Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Happened with Capcom versus Marvel.
Yeah.
There's several games that
it
comes out at launch, I'm like, oh, I'll buy the whole package, and then like it's just poop. So
yeah, if it makes you feel any better, I bought the Ultimate Edition of The Division, and we never played anything. We played like the first expansion, and then we never played anything else.
That was one of the other ones.
Oh, I do have one that's worse. We bought Ghost Recon Wildlands. Let me correct myself. Chris bought Ghost Recon Wildlands, and he bought the Ultimate Edition. And we literally played 3 missions, and I was like, this is fucking horrible. I don't ever want to touch this game again. And he's like, you better touch this game again because I spent $100 freaking on it. So you better play this with me. And then he never ended up playing it again. So, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe be wary when you think about buying DLC. Maybe just buy it later.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, it doesn't save you that much money, right? It saves you, what, $5 or $10 usually?
It's either that or they add like some special content, like visual content or visual
cosmetic
piece that you can only get in that, first couple of days, whatever.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, whatever. If that's what floats your boat, it ain't for me. That's why I don't buy it anymore. The last one I bought was actually the first one I can think of that I bought and last one I bought was Injustice 2. And I don't feel ripped off for that, but that's because it had a great character list to begin with, and then they gave me a bunch more, so I didn't feel ripped off. But anyways, yeah. So, do you guys have anything else left to say about Capcom, the IP, all that?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think we're probably good on it.
I didn't want to cut anybody off if they had ideas. That's all.
That's good. Do you want to move on to the next point?
Yeah, please.
So, on to the next point. Stadia continues to get worse somehow, which I don't think it's going to be surprising anyone with the ongoing issues. But so basically, we've noticed that Stadia's got all sorts of connectivity issues, including the controller and Wi-Fi settings. We found out that the controller at launch will not work wirelessly on mobile or PC, and it will only work with the Chromecast Ultra wirelessly at launch, which is kind of disappointing because that means that you're going to have to use a USB-C connector in order to use the controller with the device you want to use it on if it's not using the dongle. So I guess, what do you guys think on that? Because I think it is a bit iffy when you kind of get this all singing and dancing thing promised to you, and then as it gets closer to launch, you're starting to see all the issues that are slowly rising up. It's just the hardware version of the games we're getting now, in my opinion. Here's all this great shit. Just kidding. It'll be there later. So, and it just seems it's kind of annoying with that point, like how you can't use the controller with a mobile or PC at launch. It's like why? It seems like that's something you can, but yeah,
it'd be hard, yeah, especially on mobile because you're gonna need a USB-C to USB-C for the most part.
Yeah, so imagine using like a Samsung or a Google Pixel phone and
it's even worse.
Yeah,
if you have an iPhone, not that you can use it, but
Yeah.
Theoretically at some point in the future.
Yeah, it's just a bit disappointing. Like, and I just think the whole thing just seems clunky. It'd be like using the Switch on your lap with a controller plugged in all the time. I just don't think that would feel right. It'd be weird.
If it's like Nintendo, and here's the Switch. See how it can detach the controllers? How cool is that? By the way, you have to wait 6 months until we update it and you can play with the controllers wirelessly. That's like the main selling point of your freaking thing. Why are you like this? Because then you can't play it in the dock, which is the whole point. Like it's so Jason, you had something you wanted to say, and I
was laughing. I was laughing.
Yeah, it's very silly. I don't like. We discussed this before the show, so it's a little bit of retreading for patrons. But like, why do you launch something if you're not ready? Like, I don't. Like you're Google, right? You're not just like Joe Schmo in a garage. Like you're Google. You can afford R&D time.
Yeah, I just don't get it. It seems like, not to bash all developers or companies, but it seems like it's like an industry standard. Like they say it's because the players have such high demands and expectations for games and hardware to kind of meet. They can't meet them without sacrifices. That's the way it almost seems. But at the same time, like, I know see how Doom got delayed till next year, and they're saying they're wanting to make sure the game's as good as it can be, and that's probably true considering the kind of clusterfucks they've had with some of the recent games.
Yeah, they need a win.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing that for a totally different reason, because there's so many games coming out in November that they don't want to risk Doom going in with any issues and then just getting absolutely hammered against all these other games. But I digress on that. But yeah, it does seem like it's kind of a standard where people are just they're using it as a scapegoat, saying that they've got to meet all these demands but they can't do it, and then that's why their games kind of fall flat in some bits.
They, in my opinion, they should just take the time. I mean, I'd rather the game come out later, like Animal Crossing, than them like, for example, No Man's Sky.
Right.
Like when I bought the game when it came out, and within like 2 hours of playing, realized I wasted so much money. Like
I was the same.
And then how many years it passed? Was it 3 years now? And now it's actually an amazing game.
Yeah, it's good. But
like they gotta take the time. Like, I don't know. All this rushing, there's no reason to rush.
Right. In my mind, with No Man's Sky specifically, they needed more dev time, obviously. Now, granted, they had Sony backing too. Like, so it wasn't like they were short on cash. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely feel like Sony is partially to blame there. Be like, yeah, you got to get this shit out the door. like, and we see that with Activision all the time. That's why like next year's Call of Duty, good luck, But I don't know. There's business demands, and then there's other stuff. And like, let's just we're on obviously an infinitely smaller scale than these companies, right? Let's just be honest. But like we talked a bit before the show of like, or no, during the intro that we wanted to do a group chat, right? And I wanted it out to be on the 17th. By the time most of you are hearing this, that will have been like 2 weeks for patrons. We wanted it out earlier than that, but I'm not gonna like rush it. You know what I mean? Because I want it to be good. So like I'm willing to take that hit on time. Now, granted, if that meant we took a hit on money, I'd be okay with that too. You know what I mean? Like we're not in that scenario, but if we were in that scenario where we're looking at the books or whatever, and it's like, all right, you're gonna lose like. Let's just say we're in their shoes, right? Let's say we're projected to make $1 million in sales or whatever. And it's like, all right, you're going to lose like 20,000, 30,000, maybe 40,000. I'm like, look, that's a hard hit. But honestly, like, I'd rather take that hit because I think over the long haul, you'll make that back. You know what I mean? Yeah. So goodwill and reputation goes way farther than people give it credit for.
I know you're saying that you don't want to rush the game, release it when it's like a buggy mess, and then not only does it affect sales, it affects the reputation of your business. And then that's harder to come back from than delaying a game by an extra couple months and making it good.
Right. So that's with the kind of the situation we're in now, where like we see that with, let's just use Bethesda and Capcom as examples. Capcom had a string of 6 years where they were just making really crappy games at one after another. With the exception of like Monster Hunter on the DS and all that, but like RE5 wasn't necessarily living up to a lot of people's expectations after 4. 6 definitely didn't. That's pretty much a general consensus among fans that they don't like that game. So like, and then Bethesda on the opposite end had Skyrim, and they were riding the high horse for years. Had Fallout 4, riding the high horse for years, and then they just came out and just boom, they dropped 3 flops in a year. Yeah. Like, and then Capcom had 3 successes in a year. So like, obviously, like people are now hesitant to buy Doom, like you were saying. So I don't know. They need to.
No, I'm not hesitant to buy Doom.
I'm not either, but I mean the general public.
I guess they could be, but
right.
I'm actually looking forward to buying it. Buying it more now than I was before because I know they're polishing it up. I'm expecting far less bugs and issues when it comes out. Like I'm hesitant to buy Call of Duty Modern Warfare because I bought the last Call of Duty and I was enjoying it for a bit, and then it was like every day I got home from work, it was like a 4 gig patch. Here's 4 gigs. You got to download. And that was when I was on the poopy internet. So that took several hours to download.
Yeah, and so then, basically you never could play.
And then if it wasn't that, it was, they brought the loot boxes in, and then there was that scandal where they took away pre-order skins and then put them in the loot box. Like, it was a big thing.
That seems super sketchy, but something they would do.
There was several YouTube videos on that, and
I believe it.
And then I just stopped playing. I was like, I'm done with this game. And like now I want to get this Modern Warfare one, but I'm like, no. I can feel the bad experiences I already had previously.
The flashbacks start coming in.
Yeah.
The PTSD is kicking in. The remorse, the regret, the loading bars. It's all coming back. Yeah. So I don't know. Get it right at launch, maybe. That's
hopefully. Kind of touching on that again, I went off topic a little bit there.
Yeah,
but the next point on Stadia is that it's going to require players to use Wi-Fi at launch, which is kind of disappointing to a lot of people, I'd say. Most players, or say people that are investing into this console, were kind of expecting to be able to use their phones from the get-go, I'd imagine. And kind of finding out that now you're going to have to wait for a while to be able to do that. It's pretty disappointing.
If I may, again, the major selling point of Stadia: take your games anywhere, just like Switch. Play your games anywhere. Like, again, if you could just not play the Switch docked, you'd be like, what the fuck is the point then? Like, what's the point? The same thing with Stadia. What's the point of... All right, great. I can play my games on mobile if I have a USB-C connector and I'm on Wi-Fi, which basically means I can only play it if I'm at a cafe.
And they hindered it even more because... when it first came out, when they first announced Stadia, they said you can play on mobile devices. Then months later, it was like, oh, wait, only Pixel devices for right now.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And now it's like, oh, wait, you can play on Pixel devices, but you must be on Wi-Fi. So it's like,
come on.
2 days before launch. Wait, guys.
Right.
You can only play on the large Pixel phones.
Dude, I don't know. I'm not about, again, like, I get it. Like, sometimes you run into hiccups, whatever. I definitely see, in my mind, the only way this happens is if the business is like, all right, we're launching this day, period, end of story. We got it locked in. This is when it's happening. But correct me if I'm wrong. Retailers aren't selling Stadia, right? You can only buy it through Google at the moment, or is that incorrect? I haven't seen it pop up anywhere. That's why I
haven't seen it advertised anywhere besides on their website.
Okay. I'm going to take a look here, just at like Best Buy or whatever, and just see while we talk. But so the whole point is that, like, it's not there's a lot of moving parts to when you launch a product, right? All right, there's production, there's dev time, blah, 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 all that crap, right? But then you get to the point and it's like, all right, well, we hold all the cards, so we could just manufacture all these things and just wait until our dev team fixes it. And if we gave them like maybe 2 more months, maybe they could do it. But no, they're like, all right, we got to launch before Black Friday. Like, we got to launch before Black Friday, because if we don't launch this year before Black Friday, we're pretty much screwed, because next year PS5 and Xbox are coming out. Good luck selling anything then,
Yeah. It's annoying as well, because like the guys in it is that they're doing it so the founders get the best experience, like from launch for them, like, so they're getting the best possible experience of all the games that they're going to be playing. But at the same time, this seems like it's a cop out. It's like, sure, if you're saying all this stuff from the start, like you'll get it on mobile, not mentioning the whole like having to do it on Wi-Fi, and then they're just quickly changing it. It's like the closer they get to launch, the more things that are just going to be like, all right, bank it, we'll get it done after launch. And that's when more issues rise, and kind of faith gets destroyed a little bit in the company, because then you're just seeing it's like, oh yeah, we'll do this stuff later. And I just hate seeing that because, like later never comes, or there's another issue or something else gets brought up where you just realize that they're not putting as much effort into the things that matter the most.
Right. It just seems lackluster almost.
Yeah, like this is the only industry that can get away with this, is the video game industry. Like, imagine buying a car and it's like, oh yeah, we have 4-wheel drive and this, that, and the other. But wait, you'll get that in 6 months. Bring the car back and we'll put it in.
Right.
And
that would
you
never
get
work.
Like, come on.
That would never happen.
It
comes with a year of satellite radio, but we'll patch it in a year later. Like what? Why can't you just do it now? Oh, see, because Ford has an exclusivity deal with satellite, so none of us can install satellite for a year. Like what? What? That doesn't make any sense.
And you get the DLC as well. The airbag comes as DLC.
Yeah.
So if you want that safety DLC, you've got to pay the primo price, and if not, well, fuck you.
Want to protect you and your children? That'll be $799.
What's that? Oh. The car can't lock? That's DLC.
We have a loot box for you guys.
Yeah.
Surprise mechanics.
You got seatbelts, guys. That's how we get the steering wheel. Oh my gosh.
You get everything but the steering wheel.
You get a notification on your phone. You remember when Ford tried to make the keypad a thing? I don't know if Jordan knows this, but back a couple of years ago, Ford tried to make this keypad thing a thing on the door. So you put in a keypad code, like a locker, right? Yeah, it's fucking weird. Anyways, it died clearly because it was a terrible idea. And so I'm imagining something like that, being like, okay, we're going to give you a push notification. Spin the wheel and figure out what your code is. Oh, that's not the correct code. $4.99 for another spin.
Oh my gosh.
Just unlock your car every morning before you get up. Honey, I need to wake up a half an hour early for work because I need to play spin the wheel so I can get into my damn car.
Spin the wheel.
Maybe just some more like
we're going to play What is your future? Are you unemployed today? No.
Every day it just hits unemployed for me. Right.
It just gets worse every day. Oh god. Anyways, the whole point is that Stadia is not living up to expectations, right? that's basically what we're saying. Yeah.
I'm hoping it gets better.
I believe Chris is the only person who is willing to deal with all of the bullshit that's going on with us, and he's actually got the Founders Edition pre-ordered. I'd considered it for a while, but I'm glad I held off because this looks like it's not going to work out very well.
Like, I just remember. Sorry, you go first.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking, like, like not long ago. I say not long ago. It was a good few years ago now. There was like another console that got released. It started with O, and it was like just
on live.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Oh yeah, I think it was like. Was that to do with Steam, or was that something total standalone? Because I remember, like, I don't know why it reminded me of that, but it just did. And that was
its own thing, and it was basically the same shit.
Just hit the ground head first.
Yeah, it was based off of Android.
Classic.
It doesn't say. It was just made by Ouya. They just made it themselves. Anyways, I remember Ouya because the first time I saw it, I was like, "This looks like some like more advanced version of the cheap crap my grandma buys at the store." Like it's like, here, I know you like video games. Here's this weird Pac-Man thing. Like,
Ouya is such a funny name, isn't it? All I can think of is like Ouya fucker that failed or something equally bad.
Ouya is terrible. It's a terrible name. At least Stadia sounds cool. Like, Ouya was just a failure from the start. Jeez. Anyways, I think we've beat this horse enough, so we can move on to the next thing. We're going to talk about our favorite horse to beat, Call of Duty. I'm here. My internet's just shit.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. That was a me thing.
Yeah, I got disconnected there, but I'm back now.
If it makes you feel any better, I straight went red barring too. So
it seems like a Discord server issue then.
Yeah, it might have been a Discord thing. I'm gonna jump the bit rate up just a little bit. I lowered it down by a lot, so hopefully that helps. Yeah, it might have just been a Discord thing, but it seems to be fixed. So I'm gonna put it at this, and then we should be good. So let me. So what was it? Oh, I got cut off in the middle saying whatever I was saying, right? So I'm just gonna start from the top, I guess. Then
go for it.
That's cool with y'all. Let me timestamp this. I'm just gonna cut all of this, and that should be fucking Discord. All right. Anyways, let's see. Let's get back to it. Where were we? Call of Duty. All right. So let's try this again. Call of Duty will not have loot boxes, or so Infinity Ward says. After reports emerged showing that loot boxes had placeholder items inside of the Modern Warfare beta, Infinity Ward has come out and repeatedly stated that the company is, quote, definitely not working on any kind of supply drop or loot box system, end quote. And as you missed Jordan and Jason's brilliant joke before, because it probably is going to get cut, they're not working on it because it's already done. Is the joke.
Yeah, it was already in the system.
They're already done.
They created it.
Yeah. The first thing before the game was even starting development, they're like, we need to get that loot box in there. Hashtag surprise.
All Activision Call of Duty teams check boxes. Step 1, microtransactions? Check.
It just
loot
sounds...
boxes? Check.
I just understand it. Like, they've got placeholders. Like, why have a placeholder in the game if they were never intending to have it in there in the first place? Like, it doesn't make any sense, because then they're either copying and pasting code to make things quicker, which is worrying, or... Which
is what we've been saying about Call of Duty for, what, like 6 years?
Yeah, which isn't a shock if they're doing that. But then surely, like, if they're not wanting to have these in, like, any loot boxes at all, you think the first thing they would do is make sure there's not a single trace for, like, data miners to even get a glimpse at to see, like, the slightest touch of that, because then that instantly destroys that trust that they're not going to do it.
While I agree with you, I think we all can speak from experience of dealing with, work, of like, sometimes you just don't think of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they probably were like, oh, look how people are going to be so happy that we don't have loot boxes in the system, not thinking at all that they've imported a bunch of shit from previous systems. You know what I mean? And they probably did just literally import it and didn't think anything of it. Like, I wouldn't put it past, Activision in that dev cycle. So anyways, to finish out this story, the system is supposed to be replaced by a battle pass. COD points can be used to purchase the additional battle pass tiers, and the battle pass will not be available at launch. This is where y'all missed my gigantic tirade of, again, like, this is your reward system. Why is it not in the game? Like, it needs to be in the game. It's a battle pass. How can you fuck that up? Like, even if you just implement the battle pass at first and then implement, like, objectives later, like, why is it not there at all? Like, the whole system apparently is not going to be there at launch, from what I am understanding.
I don't see how it's hard when they had it in the previous game.
Right.
Like,
again, you imported.
I think it's just cutting corners again. Like, they're just taking opportunities to, like, get it out as quick as they can, like, with a base bare minimum. And then all these nice things that they've already said you would get are going to get jammed in later, probably with a sneaky loot box or two.
Right. Yeah, anyway, you were in the middle of a point, Jason. No,
it's just the battle pass system is nothing new. Like, it's not like you're reinventing the wheel. Every battle pass system is the same, from Fortnite to Apex to PUBG Mobile to, like, anything. It's a set of prizes, a set of things you get for a set amount of money or leveling up, and here's some objectives to do each week. Like,
and with Call of Duty, like, most of what people care about are cosmetics. They care about gun skins and they care about operator skins. Like, that's pretty much it. And call signs. Is that still a thing? They still do call signs? I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time. Like, the little logo thing that pops up. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Those are the things people care about, are cosmetics, and they're not that hard, honestly. Like, even if, I know this is going to sound shitty, but, like, hear me out. I'm trying to think from the perspective of Activision, right? Of, like, even if you were to be like, okay, we need a battle pass, just take out a bunch of cosmetics that you've already made and cram them into the battle pass, because you need something there. Like, because in my mind, battle pass, like, the first half of every battle pass, basically everyone's going to get, the latter half is where the hardcore base gets their reward. So that's where you usually get the cool stuff.
And now, like, they reuse so many skins. Like, they've been doing skins for how long? When did they introduce skins?
Maybe in Modern Warfare. I don't remember Modern Warfare having them, but I know Modern Warfare 2 definitely
they had
them.
But you had to pay for them. You had to unlock them by playing.
Like you
do in a game. So these skins are there. They're not like yes, they're gonna add a couple of new skins, but they're not gonna redo the tiger stripe skin, like make it brand new. They're just gonna
polish it up.
The same, it's the same skin.
Let me just add some more pixels in here, make the density a little better.
They're not it's all a day. It's not hard.
Yeah. Some of the stuff is pretty plug and play. I know we're like really simplifying it, but when you're operating at the level that you are at Activision and at these studios, like you're churning out these games on a regular basis, so you know what to expect. And they, to be fair, they do have a high, quality team there. It's not like these are just some schlums making Call of Duty every year. You know what I mean? It's not like college students. Like these are like real people. Like it's like I know this is gonna sound shitty, but like Activision is held in high esteem as like a developer. Like when you're working for one of those studios, it's like a really good thing to have on your resume. You know what I mean? So, I mean, because it's almost a guarantee every Call of Duty is going to sell millions of copies, Yep. So it's just one of those things where, I don't know. I wish they would just get it right. I'm not going to buy it. I think we discussed this a bit pre-show, but long story short is I'm still working on the Hong Kong video. I was working on it today. It's going to come out. But spoiler alert, I don't plan on supporting Activision much. It's basically the point of the story. So
I'm still undecided on whether or not I'll pick it up. It's one of the games that I can just pick up for a bit of a laugh, because online can be alright with mates, but at the same time kind of like on your side as well. I've got a few reasons why I don't really want to support them anymore, so I'm not too sure yet. Right.
It's dumb because like realistically we used to live in a day and age where like we didn't have to think about that. Not so much our generation, but the generation before us. Pretty much everything since we've been born is made in China. But I don't know. It's a tough situation because it's like, what do you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyways, we got one final story about Activision if you want to lead into it and finish us off here.
Certainly. Activision finally speaks out on its relationship with Bungie. Cody Johnson, president and chief operating officer, mentioned that they were willing to let go of the product due to poor sales expectations, specifically mentioned Forsaken. He also mentioned the fact that the company never owned the IP and wanted to focus on their own IPs.
Right.
Bungie got out, and I'm proud of them.
Right.
For getting out of that.
we all looked at that and we're like, it was like when you watch somebody get away from an abusive relationship. I'm proud of you.
After so many years.
You finally did it. To be fair, the reason why I wanted to include this story the most is that I found it to be quite interesting that it worked out for Bungie in such a specific way, because like we mentioned above, Activision is a pain in the ass to deal with. We know that, like pretty much head to toe. It's always going to be a pain because they're so heavily focused on monetary value of the things that they're working on. Yep. So like we were reading the story, and basically in it mentions that Bungie announced that they were independent in January, right? Is that correct? Of this year, that's when they made their announcement, or like at the Game Awards, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. Pretty sure it was
something like that. I don't remember what it was, because it was literally like the second show we did this year of the Games Embassy. So it was like early January.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the surprising thing for me was that they basically just called Activision. We're like, we don't want to do this anymore with you. We want out. We want to take the IP and we want to leave. And Activision was like, screw it, you can go. Like we don't want to invest in this anymore either.
I'm glad they got the IP with them, because remember when they're owned by Microsoft? Microsoft just wanted them to churn out Halos like no tomorrow.
Right.
And in order to get out of that partnership, they had to release their ownership of Halo.
Right. How did that work out? Were they basically like locked into a multi-year contract with them, or multi-game contract with them?
No. I think they were just owned by Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken. Like Microsoft bought Bungie, and they're making Halos and stuff, but then they wanted to make other IPs and such, but Microsoft didn't want them to. They just wanted to make them focus on Halo. So they came down to an agreement that they can leave the studio and become Bungie once again, like without Microsoft's ties. But they had to do like 2 more Halos, which was like Halo 3, Reach and ODST.
And ODST, yeah.
I believe those are the 2. Because 4 was done by 343 Studios, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading here. Is that basically that's what happened? Is that
so they lost their baby they made? Because if you think about it, they worked on Halo for so long.
They really do.
That's an old game for them. And they lost it. They lost the rights, but they were able to leave as a studio and become independent until they got picked up by they didn't get picked up by Activision. They needed a publisher, and Activision was willing to pay for everything to get the game out. But it was under the contract of you're going to give us this many games under this time frame. Like 10 years or whatever.
Bungie did not hit those goals at all. To be fair, because we discussed this like back when Destiny 2 was launching, because the original issues with Destiny was that for whatever reason, the engine they had originally built was not very good. I think have you guys all played Vanilla Destiny, the original one?
Oh yeah. I liked it.
I liked it too. It was fine, but its foundation wasn't great. You know what I mean? Like it had some things they needed to work out that clearly they fixed in 2.
Yeah.
They needed that major overhaul so that the game could be what it needed to be. But also that type of game, and we were saying this when like whatever it was when because the first 2 expansions came out, we're like, these are not great. Like Crota was good, but the first one wasn't very good. They needed a bigger team and more resources, and Activision, to be fair, did kind of accommodate them there. Like I don't want to like give Activision shit the entire time on the thing with Bungie, because to be fair, Bungie didn't live up to its expectations either some of the times. But at the same point, that doesn't negate any of the crap they did, you know? So I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad they can do what they want. Apparently they're seeing pretty good success. I've heard good things about people that have been playing Shadowkeep. They like it. So, you know, if that's what you're into, I haven't gotten into it yet. Chris has been hounding me to do so, but I've just been busy with, you know, the plethora of other games that have come out recently.
Oh, gosh.
So anyways, that's pretty much all I got. Do you guys got anything left you want to say? I know, Jordan, I'll ask you to plug your stuff if you would before we leave. And if Jason has anything he'd like to say or plug, anything like that.
I'm not too fussed on doing a plug for my stuff. I'm just happy to help get your stuff out there.
That's totally up to you if that's what you want to do. I'll put the links if you would like in the description. If not,
feel free. You can do that. It's like at the moment I'm still kind of needing to rebuild the website and stuff, so I'm not too sure yet. I'll be hammering folk over yet.
I understand. Yeah, we did talk about this. So, anyways, if you want to just prepare yourself and follow him in the meantime, that would be greatly appreciated. Jordan does some good work outside of Ambassadors as well as inside of Ambassadors. So does Jason. So that's pretty much it. Try to check us out at least once a week. That is how often we try to do this show. And you might like what you find. Actually, I'm pretty sure you will. I'm Ambassador Michael.
And I'm Ambassador Jason.
And I'm Ambassador Jordan.
It's been a good week, fellas. Thank you for your time, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
See you later.
See you guys.